every conversation that moves away from the plight of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip that are being slaughtered ruthlessly and being starved out by the state of Israel is playing playing into Israel's goals here. That is precisely the reason why yesterday Benjamin Netanyahu instantly came out and said, saying free Palestine is akin to saying Heil Hitler. And not only that, but also that, the leadership of the French government, the British government, and the Spanish government were actually the ones who pulled the trigger by doing what? By offering the most marginal of condemnations to the state of Israel for its mass starvation campaign. What a fucking ridiculous thing to claim. And the Canadian government as well.
Stopped them from getting to the Gaza crossing at Kerem Shalom. So they held their protest at the side of the road.
All the pictures of the children here, of Gazan children that have been killed by our army. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel?
Furious. We are here to say no more.
There have been many demonstrations in Israel about the hostages still being held in Gaza.
One thing I will say about the changing of the attitude overall in Israeli society is that standing together is like somewhat comprised. Is probably the largest group of protesters against the Israeli state that are comprised of some anti-Zionists, but mostly liberal Zionists. And post-October 7, there were plenty of people that were a part of this group, Ombim Be'echad, also known as Standing Together, that actually took a very different tone on the occupation. Not one that was, of course, in support of Palestinians at all. Having said that, while the initial protest that took place by Standing Together was, one, tiny, and two, comprised almost entirely of people that were waving Israeli flags, take note of the fact that, one, these protests are much larger now, and two, directly focus on Palestinian victimhood, and three, do not have any Israeli flags. Now, this is still far, far away from the truth of the matter. I don't think, still consider it to be a genocide, but they are now entertaining the notion that war crimes are taking place, which again is, yeah, of course. Having said that, it does show a marked shift in even Israeli society and popular discourse.
But it's quite unusual to see people holding up pictures of Palestinian children. Of course, these people are on the left, but still, there is a growing concern about what is being done in Israel's name. Some on the Israeli left thought the war was initially justified because of the October the 7th Hamas attacks. But now they see nothing but cruelty.
Although we are not the majority, the reality is still the same reality of genocide, extermination, famine, transfer and expulsion plans.
Amongst the speakers, reservist Captain Ron Finer, who faces...
This is pretty crazy, by the way. I really hate you had a take on this. In a Facebook post, head of Standing Together, Alan Lee Green praises Ron Finer as a hero and a wonderful person. Finer served 270 days in the current annihilation war and just now decided to refuse and go to anti-war demonstrations. He's also a member of ST's leadership. I'm in favor of rehabilitation for sure, but goddamn, that's quite the expeditious change, you know?
This is 20 days in prison starting on Monday for disobeying orders by refusing to serve in Gaza.
Those orders are not moral. They are not serving the security interest of Israel. The only thing they will bring is death of more soldiers, more Gazan civilians.
For the record, if you want a peaceable solution to the Israeli occupation and the end to the Israeli genocide, this is something that needs to happen. This is something that needs to happen. This is how it happened in apartheid South Africa as well. People that recognized that apartheid South Africa had become a pariah state due to the endless amounts of legal pressure, the endless amount of civil disobedience and protests that took place against apartheid South Africa in the Western world, and the condemnations that came from the condemnations that came from governments like the United States of America, who even Joe Biden famously was like railing against South African apartheid by the end of that process, led to South Africans themselves, like white South Africans that are beneficiaries of the apartheid structure themselves, changing their attitude on the apartheid in an effort to basically continue existing as a nation state. That pressure internally certainly played a major role in the government also finally coming to that conclusion. So the more people jump ship, even if it's too little too late, the better. There are obviously better methods that I think Israelis could use in their own, inside of their own government, considering that almost every single person here is trained by the Israeli military at a certain point. Just saying, you know. But having said that, these things take time. Change takes time, you know?
And our hostages. I would prefer to not get punished, but if this is the price they have to pay for making my moral decisions and choices, I'm okay with it.
למה אתם מחזיקים שם שלטים של תינוקות פלסטינים?
A counter-protester arrives, asking why they're holding up pictures of
Chat is stupid. Israelis like me exist. Yes, there aren't many of us, but we do exist. So not all these leftists are fake leftists, but you guys are right that most of them are, sadly. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just for the record. Like, I have obviously promoted much more radical groups within Israel in the past and interviewed refuseniks in the past, as you know, like Mezarvot, which is a great organization. It is an actual anti-Zionist organization. But the very fact that even like Ombim Be'achad now is entertaining refuseniks, even if they were reservists for 270 days in the fucking ethnic cleansing campaign, means that like there is a tide shift that is taking place even within Israeli society, and there needs to be a tide shift that takes place within Israeli society for this to come to a peaceable solution, because in the absence of military intervention from a coalition of the willing, Israel is seemingly not going to stop. And without America actually coming out and stopping Israel, there will be no military intervention anyway.
of Palestinian children, when Israeli children have also died. We mourn both, she's told, before the police move her away. Across the road, a small group who say that Israel must continue to attack Gaza were praying and cursing their enemies. The wicked will perish. Those who hate you will be destroyed.
How does this contrast with the polls we were looking at yesterday? Seems like diametrically opposite. Yes, that's why you must understand that this is literally a marginal movement. It is a marginal movement that was already in the fucking margins. It went from 8 to 10 people with no ultimate interest in ending the bloodshed to maybe a couple hundred people with a real demonstration against the bloodshed.
Some were ready for an argument with any left-wing protester who ventured over.
We are not attacking civilians. If you are taking babies under the ground and taking babies in your basement and you are a terrorist, don't think we not shoot you. Okay? This is a very, very specific orders. The Arabs make terror. And terror is bad.
This literally doesn't make sense. These guys are basically promoting an alternative reality that doesn't exist. The internal debate in the fucking war conference and in the governing coalition is literally how much starvation is appropriate. We're not even talking about what the rules of engagement are. We're not talking about what percentage of civilian to enemy combatant targeting capabilities are beyond the pale. All of that stuff is gone. That's not a real conversation that's taking place. The real debate that's taking place currently is, are we allowed to give Palestinian civilians a drop of food or no food whatsoever and complete the starvation campaign? The real argument that's taking place is between the Itamar Ben-Gvir wing and even the Bezalel Smotrich wing, which Bezalel Smotrich is now aligning with Benjamin Netanyahu and saying, no, we have to give them a little bit of food because the only hurdle in front of us from completing our main objective of complete ethnic cleansing is international organs of justice and The Hague. This is literally what the argument was. This is the argument that took place with Bezalel Smotrich's statements that I talked about a couple days ago. Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister, okay, who is a fucking rabid settler terrorist radical himself, is in contest with Itamar Ben-Gvir right now, because Itamar Ben-Gvir and his even further, more radical wing claims that what must be done is the permanent starvation campaign of all Palestinians so they all die. Whereas Bezalel Smotrich says, we want to finish the job. We want to permanently occupy the Gaza Strip. We want to do, and they always say, Trump's plan of permanent ethnic displacement of all Palestinians. But while we are doing this, we also are running into problems with The Hague, running into problems with Western organs of justice that are creating hurdles for us. And therefore, we have to offer at least a crumb of aid, albeit in a symbolic manner. As Jeremy Scahill writes, Netanyahu, Gaza aid scheme offers Israel symbolic cover to finish the genocide. And they're saying it openly. They are saying it openly. When are you leaving Twitch? I never in my life would have thought that there would be this many Israel dick riders in my chat, by the way. Like, I genuinely don't understand, because like this kind of like debate or this kind of conversation in the real world is not even taking place amongst like Zionist groups. You know what I mean? Christian Zionism is bigger than you think. I mean, no, I know Christian Zionism is massive. It is legitimately shocking how many people come in here and go, I hope you get banned. I hope you get killed, you fucking terrorist. While I'm talking about the insane things that the Israeli government is doing and admitting to.